Hey everybody, Lydia Fiedler here for Gel Press, and I have a very fun video for you today on how to use pre-mixed pouring paints with your gel press, using your gel press as the canvas that you would normally use in a paint pour. Now, I tried these pre-mixed pouring paints and created some beautiful patterns on my gel press. But when I went to go actually pull a print, you can see these dendritic patterns that I got, and that fun marbled pattern that you can see on my wood slices got obscured just from the printing process. So I was trying to preserve that pouring look and still pull a print, but it didn't work. So I figured out a way that it will work. So first I'm just going to mist my gel press with a little bit of water just to help the paint move. And I'm adding several colors of paint, including a couple of fun neons. I love the neons. And then I'm using the gel press just like you would use a canvas in the pouring process, getting those amazing marble textured patterns onto the surface of my gel press. And this is what I did before when I got those other prints. But now if I press a piece of paper into that, all of that is going to go away and I'm just going to get those dendritic looks, which are beautiful, but I like this poured look. So I'm actually setting the gel press down into the puddle of the paint that I poured off so that I can actually get a print from both sides of my gel press, which is very fun. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to make some more of these little wood slices. In this case, the wood slices are the canvas. With paint pours, I have a very small studio. I don't have room to do a traditional paint pour. And so using my small gel press and using these little wood slices, I can still have all the fun of a paint pour without the mess, without the room, without the need for racks, etc. So you can see how well those marble. What I like about this paint is it is pre-mixed. You don't have to add a silicone or any kind of agent that helps it form little cells. This will do that all on its own straight out of the bottle. The one time I did do an actual paint pour with a canvas, I also used pre-mixed paints, and I just found it so easy and so much more approachable than having to sort of feel like a chemist when I'm getting ready to do the pour. Now these do come with some metallics. I really like how sparkly the metallics are mixed in with the regular acrylic colors. These will make fun little ornaments and gifts. So now I've let both sides of my gel press completely dry, and I'm going to start with the back, the part that I just set down into that little puddle of paint. So the paint on this side is wispy. It's compressed, it won't have that marbling, but it's really beautiful and too pretty to waste. So, to transfer what I see on the surface of the gel press without reversing it, I will just use packing tape. I use the silent packing tape. It's my favorite. There's nothing I hate more than the sound of packing tape leaving the roll. So this stuff is really great. I am just making sure that it's pressed down really well to the surface of the gel press before I attempt to lift it. You really want to get good adhesion. So I'm pulling it off, and now you can see the back. So not what I see on the top of the gel press, but the opposite side. I love that the gel press is clear, so you can always see what you're doing when you're making a regular print. All you have to do is look on the bottom. In this case, my print will actually be what's sitting on the surface of the gel press. So it's sort of a reverse of the typical print. So I'm putting these sticky side up on a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to apply some Nuvo Gilding Flakes. I love these. They're very light and easy to apply. They'll work with any sticky surface. Alcohol ink prints that have maybe a little bit of pooled ink are great for sticking to these gilding flakes. But in this case, all the open areas where there is no paint from the print or the paint that was pooled on the bottom, I can fill that all in with gold, and that will make its own beautiful pattern. So now you can sort of see the back of what I want to capture, which is the beautiful sort of marbled look of those pouring paints that you can see just sitting on the top surface of my gel press. So I'll do the same thing. I positioned the tape over the part that I thought was the prettiest, just to grab that instead of using two pieces like I did on the back. So I'm just making sure that I have a good seal before I pull that off. And I intentionally left some open space again for the gilding flakes. I just love that sparkly touch that adds. And now I'm pulling it up, and again on the back you can see that it's much more muted than that pouring pattern that I get on the front. So I will set that aside. This is the back again, this is the sticky side, and this is where I'm going to apply the gilding flakes. This opening is a lot smaller than on the other piece of tape, so I just add a few of these little flakes. They're very light, and if you apply them and there's a little bit sticking off that isn't on a part of the adhesive, you can just move that with your finger back to a place that does have adhesive on it, and you don't waste any of them. So I'll fill that in. I love the way that looks. And that will just show through the other side, which is sort of the business side of the print that I'm going to use. I have another little spot at the top. And now we are ready to see what this looks like on the other side. So look at that gorgeous marbling along with the little bit of gold. So I'll just trim this up a little tiny bit. And then I will stick it down to a piece of cardstock, but this is just temporary. I only have that little bit of adhesive exposed at the top and the bottom. So I'll need to adhere this to the cardstock with some gloss gel medium underneath there, because the middle part, since it does have that paint on it, actually isn't adhered down to my cardstock. This one has a lot more of the adhesive exposed, so this one can probably stick pretty well to the cardstock. If not, I can put a little gloss medium underneath it if I need to at the edges. So here's what they look like, the wispy back section with a little bit of gold, and here's another wispy back section. And I'm just picking up the extra Nuvo flakes with the packing tape, and then I can add some more. But I will clean off the rest of my gel press. Packing tape is great for cleaning your gel press. This isn't just a technique. It also really is nice if you have some little bits of paint that have dried on your gel press and you want to pull those up. Not only does it clean your gel press beautifully, but you might get a fun pattern like this that you want to use in your art journal or on a card. I'll do the same thing here. I'll add gilding flakes down this little opening in between the two sections of paint that I picked up. And this reminds me of that, I hope I'm saying this right, that kintsukuroi technique, I believe, in Japan, where they mend broken pottery with gold, and it's supposed to be sort of symbolic about how the broken parts of things and people can be the most beautiful. And I always love that idea. I think it's really poetic and sweet. So again, if you apply the gilding flakes and then you just rub along the packing tape, it'll transfer any loose pieces up to the next section that has adhesive. I think that the gold works really well with these neon colors. That's why I chose the orange and the yellow, both in neon. And then the pink that I have in there is just a regular pink. It's not a neon. But the full set of these paints comes with a ton of colors, and you can do all kinds of fun pouring mixes with them. I will have a coupon code for anything at ARTEZA. That's good till the beginning of July. So you can find that on my blog. Now I will stick this down onto a piece of cardstock. I have a lot more exposed adhesive at the edge, but on the left side you can see there's a ton of paint that's not going to be stuck down to the cardstock. So I am going to have to add gloss medium under that as well. I just wanted to trim off the excess tape on the sides before I adhere it down and then cut it with my paper cutter. I like gloss medium because the packing tape is glossy, You could use matte medium as well, but then your tape wouldn't be as shiny and see-through as it would be if you just used the gloss. So I'll use that on both of these. You could also use any strong double-sided adhesive to hold these down. And once again, you can really see the difference between pulling a traditional print with pouring paint and pulling it directly off the surface of the gel press with the packing tape, thereby preserving the fun pouring detail and adding a little bit of extra fun detail with the gilding flakes. You can smooth this out with a credit card if you want to make sure you don't have any bubbles underneath it. And here are some of the projects that I made with this technique. Stop by my blog for that coupon code, and thanks so much for watching.